You guys look unreal. She stood just over 5 feet tall in a world that demanded 6. Imagine that for a moment, an industry where height was everything, where perfection was measured in inches, and where the rules were written by people who had never imagined someone like her could exist. After the show, Virgin and Carl would often tell her with a half smile, "Okay, take your shoes, because no one else is ever going to wear these. You can keep them." It wasn't just generosity. It was acknowledgement. They knew they had seen something different, someone who didn't fit the mold but made the mold bend for her. She stepped back from fashion for 7 years, right at the very height of her fame, when everyone else would have been chasing more covers, more campaigns, more spotlight. And somehow, even after all that time away, every single model walking today still tries to look exactly like her. This is Devon Aoki, the girl who broke every rule fashion had, and then became the blueprint that everyone since has tried to copy. When Karl Lagerfeld first saw her, the insiders whispered and doubted she'd even last a season. Too short, wrong look, wouldn't make it a year. Yet instead of ignoring her, he made her close Chanel's biggest show. The finale spot, the dream of every model. And when she later stepped away in 2009 to start a family, people said her career was finished. That she would never come back. But she did at 40. She returned to front campaigns for Acne Studios, American Vogue, and Tommy Hilfiger, bigger jobs than models half her age could dream of. From a teenager nobody expected to succeed, to the face that defined Y2K style, Devon didn't just model clothes. She created the exact looks that TikTokers now recreate, that designers still reference season after season, that celebrities today are trying to copy right now. This is how fashion's biggest outsider became its permanent insider. How the exception became the rule. How one face changed everything. Devon Aoki's discovery reads like fashion fiction, except it actually happened. It was 1995. She was just 13 years old. Backstage at a rancid punk concert in New York, not a modeling convention, not a shopping mall scouting event, not a planned moment. A punk show. She had backstage passes, caught someone's eye, and that one encounter led to a shoot for Interview magazine. "Are you going back to school? Have you taken time off now?" a journalist asked her. She laughed lightly, humble and shy. "I took today off school just for the shows and everything, but tomorrow, which is Tuesday, I'm going back for the rest of the week." This wasn't luck. This was timing, and it was exactly what fashion needed in the late 1990s, real, authentic subcultural credibility. Devon came from a creative family. Her father was Rocky Aoki, yes, that Rocky Aoki, the founder of the world-famous Benihana restaurant chain. Her mother, Pamela Hilberger, was a jewelry designer. Mixed heritage. Creative bloodline. A child raised around art, travel, and imagination. Discovered not in a studio, but at a punk concert, the most unfiltered, real environment imaginable. Devon represented everything fashion wanted to appear to be connected to real culture, not manufactured glamour. Supermodel Kate Moss saw something in her immediately. Moss personally introduced her to Storm Model Management. No agent. No open call. Just one model recognizing another's potential and deciding to help. The punk concert origin story mattered deeply. In 1997, fashion was desperate for authenticity. Grunge had just ended, heroin chic was the new aesthetic, and designers were searching for something real, something that didn't feel like it came from a boardroom. And suddenly, this young, mixed-race Benihana heiress who hung out at hardcore shows appeared. Devon wasn't trying to be edgy. She just was. Designers can always tell the difference between real rebellion and performed rebellion, and Devon's edge was unmistakably real. Within months of her first shoot, she was walking runways. Not small ones, either, not practice shows to build experience. The biggest names, Balenciaga, Marc Jacobs, Comme des Garçons. Designers who never took chances on unknown teenagers were fighting to book her. Why? Because she brought something they couldn't manufacture, a genuine connection to youth culture. Her timing was perfect. Fashion was moving away from the polished supermodel era of the early 90s toward something raw and unfiltered. Devon embodied that change. She was young enough to represent youth, but poised enough to handle couture. She could wear a ballroom gown without looking like she was pretending, and she could wear streetwear without losing grace. The story was already cinematic. A punk concert discovery, a teenage prodigy, and an entire industry ready to reinvent itself through her. She entered fashion not as someone begging to be let in, but as someone fashion needed to stay relevant. Devon stood just about 5'5", sometimes listed as 5'6", depending on who you ask. In a world where models under 5'9" were told to go home, she was catastrophically short. Add to that her Japanese, German, and English heritage, almond eyes, full lips. She violated every rule of what a high-fashion model was supposed to be. And she knew it. Years later, she told The Independent, "I always thought models had to fit a certain mold. I never thought I had what it takes. I'm too small, and my looks are pretty weird. I don't fit the status quo." Then Karl Lagerfeld saw her. Everything changed. Her first major runway trip, and she became his Chanel muse. Not after years of struggle. Immediately. The most powerful man in fashion looked at everything that made her wrong and decided that was exactly what fashion needed next. By 16, Devon was closing Chanel's fall/winter 1999 haute couture show, the final bride look, the ultimate honor. Every tall Eastern European model in the room watched this tiny teenager take the place they had trained their whole careers to reach. What Lagerfeld understood and what Devon embodied was that memorable beats conventional. Every other model that season looked like every other model. Devon looked like Devon. You couldn't confuse her with anyone else. In an industry that pretended to celebrate individuality while enforcing conformity, she was the real thing. Her success didn't just open doors, it blew them off their hinges. After Devon, agencies began signing shorter models, mixed-race models, unconventional beauties. The rigid ideals cracked because one girl was too interesting to ignore. Between 2000 and 2002, Devon Aoki didn't just influence fashion, she defined it. She created the images that became permanently encoded in its DNA. The exact silhouettes people still copy today were born from her. Think about the 2000 VH1/Vogue Fashion Awards, Devon arriving in a fringed top and ultra-low-rise jeans. That photo now lives on thousands of Instagram mood boards. Designers from Acne Studios to new-gen labels cite those exact looks as inspiration. Or think of Suki in Too Fast Too Furious pink leather pants, layered tanks, soft and tough at once. 20 years later, those looks are back in fashion editorials and TikToks everywhere. People may not even remember the character's name, but they remember Devon in those clothes. She wasn't just wearing fashion, she was creating mythology. Every outfit worked because of her presence. The baby tees, the miniskirts, the combat boots, they all made sense only because she could mix innocence and rebellion in one expression. Every photo shoot became a guidebook. Devon in Moschino showed how to mix prints. Devon in Versace made luxury feel accessible. The Y2K revival today isn't reviving 2000s fashion, it's reviving Devon Aoki's version of it. The word muse gets overused, but Devon was the real thing. Karl Lagerfeld built collections around her. Jeremy Scott called her his baby muse forever. She wasn't just wearing the clothes, she was shaping the story itself. Even after marriage, children, and years away, she returned for Jeremy Scott's Moschino show, and it felt like history walking again. Then came Too Fast Too Furious. A small role but massive impact. Devon as Suki introduced her to millions who had never opened a fashion magazine. Her pink leather pants, her soft yet fearless vibe, it became pop culture. Halloween costumes, fan art, endless recreations. She didn't leave fashion for film, she brought fashion into film. That movie preserved her early 2000s look forever, turning it into an archive. And then she disappeared. In 2009, she got married, had children, and simply stepped away. In fashion, disappearing usually means being forgotten. But Devon's absence had the opposite effect. Her photos circulated more. Her influence grew. The less she appeared, the more valuable her image became. When she finally returned in 2016 for Jeremy Scott's Moschino show, the fashion internet exploded. No one knew she was coming. One appearance turned into headlines everywhere. By 2018, she was named Comeback of the Year. She proved something revolutionary, that absence could multiply value. In 2023, Devon Aoki appeared on the cover of American Vogue. She was 40. In a Lagerfeld tribute shot by Annie Leibovitz. Acne Studios cast her in their campaign, calling her their Y2K Dream Babe. Tommy Hilfiger, British Vogue, the biggest names wanted her. And when she walked into the 2023 Met Gala in a custom Jeremy Scott mermaid gown, she didn't try to look young. She looked like herself, powerful, timeless, real. Because Devon never chased trends. She created images so authentic they became timeless. Her face carries fashion history. Her presence validates brands. When Devon appears now, she brings with her 2 decades of cultural memory. Every campaign, every photo, every designer she inspired. The girl once told she was too short, too weird, too different became the standard everyone gets measured against. She changed fashion not by adapting to it, but by making it adapt to her. Every new model trying to decode her formula misses the truth. The secret was simple: there was no secret. Just someone who knew who she was and refused to apologize for it. In an industry obsessed with reinvention, Devon Aoki's greatest rebellion was staying herself. And that, in the end, changed everything.